going, everybody? It's Blake and Declan here from Confessions of a Recruiter. Thanks for joining us. We're here with a guest, Natasha from Resourceful Recruitment. How are you, Natasha?
I'm very good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Rules of the podcast. If you like the podcast, if you're watching, we have one rule that you share it with a mate. We're trying to build a pretty big recruitment community, and that's the one rule. So if you are watching or listening and you like what you have to hear, make sure you share this with a mate and like the video or audio, whatever's your taste.
Whatever tickles your fancy.
That's right. So how are you, Natasha?
Tash,
Natasha?
Tash. Yeah, it's I've always been called Tash, and then as I was saying earlier, when I moved to the States, everyone was calling me Natasha, and it just didn't vibe. So, and then they were saying Tash. I'm like, let's just roll with Natasha, because they were thinking that I was two different humans, that there was like a Tash and then there was a Natasha. So Natasha just sort of stuck.
And where'd you go? Where'd you live in America?
Gosh, do you want me to like do my whole like recruitment career, or do you want me to just like?
Oh, yeah. Let's
You
take a
know
trip
what?
down memory lane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did little Natasha
Where
kick things off?
where did Tash?
Oh, wait.
Where did Tash start before recruitment?
Yeah, where did Natasha start, and then when did Tash? No, I'm joking.
Tash is.
But one key question that we want to
yes.
change here:
Yes.
the stigma of falling into recruitment.
Yeah.
Did you fall into recruitment? Did you seek it out?
I
How
did
it
not
happen
seek it out.
after your career in fitness.
Yeah, like 9 times out of 10 recruiters, I didn't seek it out. I was working in the fitness industry and in sales. So I started as a receptionist, worked my way up as a membership consultant, sales manager, club manager, personal training, done it all, been there, done that. And then, oh gosh, what happened? Oh, do you remember the brand? Well, you would know the brand Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like huge in America. So they were trying to bring the brand to Australia, and I took a job for pre-sale to open up Gold's Gym in Brisbane, and it didn't go to plan. I ended up standing in the shopping centre trying to sell gym memberships in the shopping centre. It's like the hardest sales grind.
I've done that before.
Yeah. Is that kind of like,
I
you know,
did
those
on Eagle
people,
Street.
you know those people that like they try and make eye contact, and if you make eye contact, they'll sign you up to sponsor a kid, or
Yeah.
they'll
The latest
you wanna
skincare
buy-"
products?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, those guys that stand like in the
So
mall
that was
and
you,
they're like,
was
Miss, please let me rub the cream on your face. I'm like,
Hola.
"Please go away from me." So yeah, like when I'm in the shopping centre, I'll pretend I'll take a phone call just so I don't have to talk to them. So that was me. And the gym was meant to open. It was meant to open. And I'm like 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks deep standing in the shopping centre in Westfield. I'm like, I can't do this. Ended up moving back home to Townsville, living with mum and dad. Was working at Gold's Gym, had opened in Townsville. So I took just a reception role there. Really wanted to get back to Brizzy. And I had a friend who worked in sales with me at Genesis, and she was in recruitment. And she called me and she said, look, it's similar skill sets. You talk to people, you find out their needs, like a needs analysis, the same thing as selling a gym membership. And you just need an outgoing, bubbly personality to be really good at it. So I don't remember if I applied or whether I just spoke directly to the internal recruiter at Hayes. And the best interview story ever. So I come from the fitness industry, right? Trainers, tights, probably wear no makeup, whatever. I roll into this interview and she goes, okay, you've made it to the next round, but I need you to just bring like a jacket or whatever, like a coat. I don't know, what do you call them? I'm still so bogan.
A blouse.
Is it a blouse or is that
Is
a
it a
top?
blouse?
A blouse is like a dress, isn't it?
Oh,
Top.
I don't know.
Maybe,
A
I
blazer.
don't know. A blazer,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think we're all bogan then if you don't know what that is.
So I had to go out and buy a blazer. And I remember catching the train into the city, and I didn't own like corporate high heels at the time. I only owned like clubbing high heels. So I borrowed my housemate's corporate high heels. I caught the train. I was there. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're late, right? So I'm 15 minutes early. my high heel completely breaks in half. I'm not talking like the heel broke. The whole shoe came apart.
Wow.
So I'm like, I've got a decision. I can try and go and find a new shoe, or I can rock up to my interview with one shoe on barefoot.
Do you just tippy toe that and pretend it's not broken?
I
Or?
took both off.
Wow.
Walked through Brisbane CBD with no shoes on.
And you went to the interview with no shoes?
I went to the interview with no shoes. I rock up to the reception girl and I'm like, do you have any spare shoes? She's like, what size feet are you? I say 5. She's like, what is that, baby feet? Like, I have like a size pair of 10 shoes and they're like flat. So I put her shoes on, bless her. She gave me her shoes. And I rocked up to the interview like I couldn't even wear, like I had to grip my toes so hard in these shoes. And I just made fun of it. Like, I sat down in front of, like, it was a bit of a panel interview at the time. There was a couple of other recruiters there. I took these clown shoes off and I was just like, I'm sorry, I have to go through this interview with no shoes on because these don't fit, and just made light of the situation.
Yeah.
And
So
I
99% of people wouldn't have showed up. They would have cancelled.
yeah, right. But I was so keen. I was like, I felt so blessed that they picked me for an interview out of, 6 other people. I think this was in December 2015. Then I started in Jan 2016. So
Nice.
still like a bit of a bub,
Yep.
early 20s. And I think that my no BS sort of personality just sort of shined through, and I didn't have like the skill set, but I think I had like the personality and the outgoingness to be able to just jump in there and give it a go.
And what's Hayes like? What's the big agencies like?
The big blue machine back in the heyday, we call it. No, heyday was like pre-GFC when all like the old guys talk about,
Yeah. Yeah.
But good, like they've got really good training. They send you away to Sydney for like a 4-day workshop during your 9-month associate program. I think I was scrolling back through our messages, Blake, and you and I were talking about it. You're like, what do you mean associate consultant?
You know what? I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, sorry, that's like Hayes terminology for like a trainee recruiter. And they take you through a 9-month program, and it's pretty brutal. It's like make or break it.
And so you don't talk to any clients, no candidates.
Oh.
9 months is just
Well, yeah. What are you doing?
What do you
for
do in 9 months?
That's a long time, is it?
the army
have
don't
a
even train
baby.
you that long.
That's one thing to do.
You're the baby.
They're producing you. Yeah.
A little recruitment baby. So I started off as a resourcer. So purely candidate calls on the construction team. I think I was maybe one of 2 girls on the construction team at the time. And then I guess, you know how recruitment is. I think someone maybe resigned from a role and I took over, but it was a brand new, she had only been working the desk not too long. So my desk was, and this has been a bit of a path of my recruitment career, is cold desks, which really goes to like build your character in recruitment. Like, it is so hard building a cold desk up from scratch. And at Hayes, it was very, I don't want to use the word territorial, but for example, I did trades and labours, like carpenters, electricians, plumbers, in
Temp, perm?
all contracts.
Yep.
Wow.
Brisbane CBD. That's all I had to work with.
Wouldn't you have all the big, what do they call it? The jobs where they get paid heaps?
Funny story. Unions.
Union
sites.
powered
They
sites, yeah.
hate labour hire. And no one told me that. So I rocked up with my high vis on, knocked on their door. Hey, like, you know, face to face, cold sales. And the site manager was like, get that off my site, because I had my little Hayes hat on. Because they don't believe in labour hire. They believe in, you know, paying the guys well. Not that we didn't pay them well, but they believed in
That margin should go to them.
yeah, and permanent opportunities. They don't believe in short-term labour hire. So it was very hard to break into the industry in the CBD. But what I did find was a bit of a niche in like the fit-out space. So there was a lot of offices getting fit out, and they'd need like fit-out chippies. So once I found my little groove, that was sort of where I did well. I was 2 years in and I wanted to take my career international. So I was speaking to a rec direct, and he spoke to me about NES Global Talent, which is now NES Furcroft. So I went to hand in my resignation and got counter offered. And I love this story because every time someone gets counter offered, I'm like, been there, done that. Like, you'll leave within 6 months. It's true. And it was my first corporate job. So I felt super proud that they wanted to keep me and retain me. But the direction that I wanted to go to would have taken me years and years and years to get there. So I ended up interviewing with a company in the US, and funny enough, if you don't have a college degree, they won't let you into the country. So I had to work for NES in Brisbane for a year, and then I got a specialized visa that's like a certain skills shortage, and you can go in as a company transfer. So it's like a specialized visa, and then went to the States.
That is awesome. And so is recruiting in the States much different to recruiting in Australia? Fees, I've heard, States fees, they're like 35%, and you can just rip monster fees out of the States.
Yeah.
Are the salaries as high though?
Yes and no. I didn't do perm recruitment. I did all contract recruitment. So what I would do, again, I've come from a trades background. So I did, where Homer Simpson worked at the nuclear power plants?
Yeah.
That's all I just have to explain.
Okay, yeah.
So I recruited crews of guys and girls, I should say, if there were any ever females, to go into the power plants and shut down certain pieces of equipment, do turnarounds, what they called millwrights. And they work seasonally, and most of them live in camper vans, and they pack their whole life up into their camper van, and they go away and they work at this turnaround for, a month or two, and then they travel for a month or two, and they just drive all around America and do this.
Wow.
Incredible humans. It's literally what they do for a living. But for those 2-3 months, they make bank, and then they can live off that for another 2 or 3 months. And yeah, the fees over there are ridiculous. Yeah, perm, I know the perm team. They call it direct hire over there, not perm recruitment, direct hire recruitment. But I know those guys some of them would make $80,000 fees,
So
on what paying job?
Oh, I don't know. We did a lot of technical, engineering for power generation, and obviously NES have got a really strong oil and gas arm. So it's all technical engineering maintenance type roles. I couldn't tell you what the salaries are.
$80,000 fee.
Yeah.
That's a big puppy.
So, the stigma with UK recruiters, UK recruiters, they're cutthroat, they're really good, they just smash out the calls, and, they're hardcore sales recruiters. Is there any type of stigma with US recruiters? What's the go with there? Do you get the lazy ones and the ones that work really hard, or what's the general sentiment with US recruiters in comparison to Aussie recruiters?
Yeah, good question. I think I know there was a UK biller. Him and I started around, I shouldn't say UK biller, UK consultant that started around the same time as I did. And he ended up smashing it. But he would work, late into the evening. And the work culture around there is very 8 to 6. If you rock up before, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. So they do have a very strong work culture. And Orlando was where I worked, was one of the bigger and better billing offices. But I never really thought, you guys are sales demons or whatever. I don't know what the word is. When I think of recruitment, I know it's a sales job, but I don't look at myself like a sales consultant.
Yeah, you don't. It feels weird when you start, but then you get in your groove and
yeah.
Yeah,
I did when I first started. I wasn't sure if this was the type of industry for me, because I came from an industry where I was constantly helping people change their life, change their goals. I'd do a needs analysis for someone that was going to go and get married, right? They wanted to lose weight. And when I first started in recruitment, especially in trades recruitment, And like kudos to trades recruiters. It's like I would answer calls at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, like your labourer hasn't turned up, and you'd make 25 calls to find someone to replace them for 4 hours. It's a tough gig.
That sounds really horrible. I could not imagine.
What was the choice? Were they just like, hey, this is what you're doing? How'd the trade
I
scene
think
pop up?
my personality suited the construction industry because I was like, how you going, mate? You know, like I did a fake phone call with one of the directors and to build rapport, I was like to him, oh, how many beers did you drink over Christmas? You know, like, because I was learning
What
how
was
to
your
build
tally?
rapport. My tally?
How
For
many
drinking beers
did
over
you-
Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't say.
Too many to count?
A couple of six packs. So I think they thought my personality suited construction. So naturally someone resigned, so I took this trades desk.
Yep.
And I did quite well with it. And then when I moved to NES, I was trades for mining, but NES had never done that before. So again, a cold desk. So I think for me, when I moved back to Australia, I just wasn't sure if recruitment was for me because I never felt as though I was truly changing these people's lives, because labour hire is very your carpenter needs to go to this job, and this job, because that's what they do and they got to get their job done. I didn't have to go through a full interview process with them. It was a qualification interview process. And
Yeah, so what's that, a 10-minute phone screen?
yeah, like
Do you have this ticket? Can
Yeah.
you do this
Can
job?
you do this? Great.
50,
You're
60 phone
fine.
calls a day,
Yeah.
you know. Whereas now I'm probably making 3 phone calls a day. But those 3 phone calls, I'm on the phone for an hour because I'm headhunting someone from a job and they're passive, and I'm drawing out what maybe they're not happy in their role about. And then I'm aligning them with a company that maybe is more suited to their values.
So you were doing contract and then now you're doing perm?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your split?
Yeah, what do you prefer? What's your split?
Right now it's more perm. I've only got maybe 2 or 3 contractors. Some of those have been handed down to me by previous consultants. But where my business is right now, and where the need is, especially in mining, is all permanent recruitment.
And what are the roles? Do you have like bread and butter positions, or is it just anything goes?
Yeah, what's
as long
your
as
what's
it's
your
mining?
go-to? Fill these all the time.
Oh, really?
Just give me another John. I know exactly what you want. Yeah.
I do a lot of engineering roles. So mine engineers, mechanical engineers, structural engineers. But then I also do, at the moment, I'm recruiting an underground mine manager. So he's responsible for every single human on that mine site. So I've gone from talking to carpenters to guys that are on.
What does that pay?
Oh, great question. I don't know why I didn't do this at uni. Oh man, they're on like upwards of 300K.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's they've got a stat qualification that if something goes wrong on that mine site,
They're personally responsible.
yeah.
That'd be really tough.
Mm.
Is there many of them? Like how many mine sites and how many underground mine site managers could there possibly be? Is there not many? It's like few and far between?
You
or-
have to hold the stat for the state that you work in. So you couldn't just go and be a mine manager in WA with a Queensland ticket. You've got to transfer your ticket and you've got to sit some sort of exam. So New South Wales talent pool for them is where I recruit a lot. So the New South Wales talent pool's quite small. WA, you can imagine, is gigantic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't.
How do you find them?
How do I find them? LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I've got the first year of my career in technical recruitment, I was catching the train to work. And this was before LinkedIn capped your connections.
Ah,
So I think you can do 100 a week or something like that right now.
Yeah.
I'd type in mine engineer and go connect. And then I just started creating content and getting in front of people. Because I compete with guys, and I do say guys, there's probably a couple of female mining recruiters, but majority of them are males, and they've been doing it for 10, 12 years. So it was hard to compete against them. So I was like, I've got to do something different compared to these old school guys that just know everyone.
And then what was it like building your first desk? How long did it take to do your first placement?
Beginner's luck. So I smashed it for the first couple of months. Weirdly, I love telling the story. So my first placement was and I made a big post on LinkedIn about it. I put a video up actually, and it did really well. It got really good engagement. So the first guy I ever placed, he's a metallurgist.
What?
A metallurgist. Don't you dare ask me what they do.
A metal?
A metallurgist.
They study metal. They know what the
So he's like, he's got
metal.
to do with more like, oh my God, I don't want to say this wrong, but like chemicals rather than like an engineer, right? And he was my dad. So I grew up with his stepdaughter in Townsville, and I remembered his name. And when I got my first job on, I typed in metallurgist, and he was one of them. I'm like, Jim Davis, like that sounds really familiar. And then I approached him and I was like, I think I went to school with your daughter. And he was like, yep, you're Rick Lee's daughter. And I called my dad, and dad was like, don't you remember Jim? Like, he gave me my first job in mining. He got me my very first job at Eloise Copper Mine like 20 odd years ago. Wow. And he was the first, and he was out of work too because of the pandemic and some family health issues, and he hadn't worked in a little while. So for me, connecting those dots and helping him on like that personal level of finding him a role is now what I truly value in recruitment. I don't feel like I'm a salesperson where I'm like just filling jobs. Like I literally made a difference to that guy's life.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's
when you
awesome.
see behind the door.
Yeah. Right. This is why my tagline on LinkedIn is changing how the world perceives recruitment, because I remember being that consultant that was like, oh,
Get off my job site.
I'm 15 calls down for the week. I'm going to just pick the phone up because I don't want to be in my manager's office on Monday morning with a KPI report saying, why didn't you make all your calls? Because they weren't of value, right?
And I've heard things about Hayes and big agencies that it is all activity based, and this comes from sometimes clients being like, mate, we got so many CVs, but none of them were even right. Like, is that from unskilled consultants, or is that just the KPIs are that strict? People feel like they have to put people forward. Like, where does the disconnect, or is it just that big of a business? It's so hard. When recruitment's very personalised, you really got to know the job to be able to put people forward. Yeah. Because so like, where does that come from? Because most of the time recruiters are put into industries, they know absolutely. You're in gyms, you're now recruiting in, like.
Talking to general managers of underground mines and manage millions of dollars of budgets. And I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
But I've come to learn to mirror my audience and elevate myself. And if someone's talking completely professional to me, I will. But if they throw in a swear word here and there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you learn to mirror your audience in recruitment.
I'd love to see you have a chat with Riley.
My boss was like, don't you dare drop that many F-bombs. I was like,
So tell me about mining recruitment. With accounting recruitment, it's candidate short. You find the candidate and you just pump them out to 10 different accounting firms. Is it similar to mining recruitment where you have to have the relationships with the candidates and you can pump them out to anywhere?
Yep.
Or is it more client focused where you're like, you've just got to get in bed with the clients and then try and find the candidates for them?
Yeah, a bit of both. Like I, again, made a post on LinkedIn not too long ago, especially in my field. If a candidate hasn't given you permission to send their resume to that particular client, like, don't you dare. I think that is
Isn't that a God-given rule, though?
Yeah, that's like
it happens all the time.
Really?
Like,
Really?
I spoke to someone the other day and they said, oh, so-and-so from this agency's already represented me, called my client. Are you speaking with so-and-so from this agency? And have you heard of this person? No, I haven't. So, like, dear recruiters, like, please don't say you're working with a client if you're not.
What actually happens there? Because let's say I just got my whole database and I just pumped them out to every company that I could think of.
Yeah.
Could they fight that and be like, well, I never asked for it, and be like, oh, well, that's the terms and these are the candidates, and so you owe me a fee?
I think there's a lot of, for example, you would see on job ads, there's certain companies that will say unsolicited CVs are not welcome. If you send me a CV, that gives me the permission to call that candidate because I didn't ask that of you. So it depends on, I guess.
So what did you do with that client then? Like, what was the outcome when you were like, hey, are you speaking to this person with this company? And they're like, no idea. Like, what happened then?
Well, I then called the candidate back and I said, have you got a position description? He said no. I said, well, that's an alarm bell. Do you know who the hiring manager is? Do you know who you'd be reporting to? Do you know the size of the team? And he said, no. The recruiter just said, I'm doing XYZ job with XYZ client and I'm going to send your profile. And I get it. Like maybe you're a new recruiter and you're trying to break into the industry, but
And all your roles contingent? Is that how this happens?
No, I don't do contingent.
Yeah, neither do we.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how.
Well, they whoever that was must do. So
I've still got certain like tier 1 mining organizations that they have to advertise themselves. They have to advertise through their internal team.
But you're the exclusive
But
recruiter.
I'm the exclusive recruiter. Yeah. But then our contingency agreement would be like, you're advertising yourself, but you're also using other recruiters. So for me, for mining, it's like you can advertise yourself, but we're exclusive recruiter. Yeah.
Okay.
When did you learn to not do contingent?
When the market shifted, when it was like
that sounds like everyone.
Yeah,
As soon as the
right.
market shifted, it's like, no, we got to go retained or exclusive. Do you choose one of those or how do you work there?
You just get like I've never not filled a retainer,
Yeah.
right? I've probably not filled in the first year of my career at Resourceful. I was taking on job briefs, going through it really fast because they've already spoken to 10 other recruiters. So they're like, yes, you know. But now it's educating our clients. If you exclusively partner with someone and you give that an hour and a half detailed brief, you let me be an extension of your business, let me promote your business, you're going to get the best outcome rather than giving a 20-minute brief to 3 recruiters, right? And I think that the market's helped, but now I feel like clients are like, oh, I'm getting a quicker result.
Well, you can even work out the maths. We sat down with the team and said, look, guys, if we all had 20 to 30 contingent jobs, which you could easily get at the moment, you could spend all day on the phone
Absolutely.
and you could rack them up. And they're all just like specky jobs or you've got permission to send a CV. You work out trying to work across 20 to 30 jobs a month. We worked out you'd spend like 3 hours on a role.
Yeah.
And your hourly rate for that fee is still similar, if not more, than a retained or exclusive job. So you're charging like $6,000 an hour.
Yeah.
And then you're charging the client. Who's going to pay someone to do anything for $6,000 an hour, let alone find a candidate? So when you explain that to them, they're like, oh, so what? That's why we're not priority because we're a contingent and you've got exclusive and retained clients. We're like, yeah. Like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But also, like, if you think about, I heard you guys talking about retained on another podcast about, oh, you've paid 10 grand up front, but then you've got the fear that you don't fill the job. Well, take away that fear. You've earned that upfront fee because you've interviewed people for them. You've spent your time, your resources, your money, your company's money, LinkedIn Recruiter, you know, we know what everything costs, to go through a detailed market mapping exercise, presenting the best possible people, but client may have changed the brief or that person may have got counter offered, but you did the upfront work.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just changing that mindset or that mentality. And Greg Savage talks about it.
Yeah, Greg Savage talks about it a lot. But
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Like, I don't know any other industry that only charge you at the end if they win.
Yeah,
you know? Lawyers? Do lawyers do that? Oh.
No, that's what I mean. Like, they charge you at the end, right? Oh, no, sorry, they charge you up front.
Yeah. Everyone charges you up front. You wanna buy something, you want to get some sort of service, it's like, all right, we'll give you a little bit of money up front and then, you know, maybe payments throughout the process or whatever it might be.
Well, yeah, you think about booking in an appointment with your hairdresser. You pay half up front so that you don't no-show to your appointment.
But I think that's how the recruitment industry started, was like, come on, mate, pay me to find someone, best man wins.
Yeah.
And that's how it's been built for all these years, is best man wins. Because and then no win, no fee. Yeah. And look at it tried to happen in the law industry, and that part of the industry just like got eaten up.
It's rubbish now, isn't it? It looks like the dregs of and you know, hopefully I'm not speaking out of school here, but the no win, no fee lawyer agencies are considered to be, or have this sentiment of, they're the dregs of the law industry because they just do free shit and hopefully they get a win or whatever the situation is.
I can't believe in the last year I've seen no placement, no fee on my LinkedIn.
Really?
Like, yeah. In this market, I'm like, Sorry, what?
I actually get emails. I get emails all the time from recruitment agencies
Yeah.
that see our job ads that we're advertising.
Oh, and
for
they want
clients.
to place through us.
Yeah, no. I've had agencies send me marketing letters, 2K flats, 2K flat fee.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, $500. Like wild shit. I've even responded to him like, yeah, mate, 100%.
Yeah,
you feel one of these roles, mate. I'll give you $2,000 all day. And
I'll
so-
literally give it out of my back pocket right now.
And sometimes I sit there and I get these marketing emails. I can't remember what the agency was called. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but there's
Oh,
like
wait, so you're talking about your advertising for consultants for you or your advertising for your clients?
for my clients.
Oh, yeah, we get that all the time
And
too.
then a recruiter will like send me, it's like an automated email or a marketing email.
Yeah.
And they're like, hi, I understand you're looking for this. We charge a $2,000 flat fee.
And
if
here's
we
some
place-"
snapshots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, what are you doing charging $2,000 for?
Stop undermining our industry, please.
Yeah. it's crazy. And I don't know if they get a result from that. Like, how do you even pay someone's wage off a 2K
right.
fee if they're spending, a week on a job? I don't know how you can
You would have to
make
turn
any
it
money out of that.
Yeah.
We've got a rule in our agency now. We don't take on any roles under 10K.
Oh, you stole one of my rules.
Is that one of your rules?
I started that.
No. No,
Yeah,
I
we
just-
said
I
that
just-
at the start of the year. We're
Yeah.
like, because for us in sales, the hardest roles to recruit are entry level positions.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're recruiting like an entry level SDR role
Yeah.
or, a cold calling role that's just doing 50 cold calls a day, they're the hardest roles to recruit.
Yeah.
You spend literally
much
four
time.
times the
Wow.
amount of resources, 4 times the amount of time, and you get paid like
Way less.
generally the fees. If you were to like just let's say it's a 15% fee, someone's getting a 60K salary. What's that? That's like a
12, 13K.
I always have to get my calculator out. I've been doing this a long time, but I'm still like 12% of 60K.
Is it how
Well,
much
it's about
is it?
9.
Yeah, it's not that much. It was something around like 7 or 8K or something for super low level roles, like a sales administrator or some sort of like entry level position. And we ended up working out that it costs like $4,000 in resources plus the consultant's time to recruit the role. You end up breaking even doing
Yeah.
fees that from like 9K or under. So we just thought, you know what, we're not going to be doing, if we get a role, even though, we're billing $8,000, $7,000 on this little fee, we're not making any money out of it.
Time though.
So
Like
it's
it's
just
so much time that
not
still
worth
goes
it.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people at that level don't really respect their career either. Like they're just like, hey, nah, not interested, bye. And you're like, oh, okay. You can't have a genuine conversation with you. Like, yeah, so what do you like about your current role? We've
But
got
you
this
love
other
how we
position.
change people's voices. Like,
Yeah.
hey.
Nah, not interested.
Probably don't sound like that,
I don't
Bless.
think anyone's ever
So yeah, it's really hard to actually place someone in these types of roles because
Yeah.
there's really not that much incentive to.
No, but it's
Get
a hard
headhunted.
job.
It's
Mate,
freaking hard.
making 50 outbound cold calls a day and building your own hit list, like when we started in recruitment, you've got to be a different spanner. Like,
Yeah.
to make that work, there's got to be something a little bit different about you.
I reckon so. We have KPIs at Resourceful,
What
but
are
I
they?
don't think
Yeah,
I
what are your
couldn't even tell
KPIs?
you. Sorry, Christian Brand. But I couldn't even tell you because yes, we all know how recruitment works. It's a numbers game, but it's a different numbers game. It's about finding the right human to have the conversation with and keeping them on the phone. Like I'd rather make 3 quality phone calls than be targeted to make 20 candidate calls a day. So we've got loose KPIs, but it's kind of like, I guess like the one thing that I really disagreed with
I
in
agree.
the big agencies was the same KPIs for everyone. For every consultant was the same sort of KPIs.
Well, that's where sort of I was going, because for Tash to find those 3 perfect calls 6 years now in recruitment, you needed to be that girl at, smashing out 40 calls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a level, there's levels to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's probably a maturity you have in your office.
Yeah.
Like how many junior recruiters do you have jumping out of Gold's Gym
Well,
to
how
work at Resourceful?
Well, yeah. How big is Resourceful? How many consultants?
Resourceful, I'm going to have to do the old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, 6 consultants right now, but then we have 2 executive search consultants. So we've got a sister arm to our company, Resourceful Pro. So they do all exec search, but they've also got an arm that does like talent mapping and salary surveys, which I've only just introduced into my recruitment career. done a couple of talent maps and like.
Do you charge for that?
Yeah. It's actually really fun. It's a different style of like a non-traditional recruitment services. So I've got a client at the moment, a mining engineering consultancy, and they were like, we were just having a conversation, and he goes, how much would it cost me to get you to give me a spreadsheet of potential BD clients for me? And I was like, oh, well, I'll work off an hourly rate. We've got to have a catch
BD
up.
clients, what's that?
Business development.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So like he's a consultancy and he needs to win work on mining sites. So he would do work for like Rio, FMG, but he needs to win that project, but he needs to know the right human to speak to, but he doesn't have the tools to find those humans.
So why does he care about what their salaries are?
Oh no,
that's a different service.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's a different service. So this would be like a talent mapping situation to find him clients. Like he would buy my time to map out who would be his potential clients.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I haven't put a fee structure in yet, but cool project. And then we do on the flip side, we would do that I did one for a company where I did, and it's hard work. You think it sounds easy, but it's not. We did a salary survey. So I found 500 people relevant to what they do and approached them to get their salary information to then go back to my client.
500 people yourself. How long did that take?
I didn't call them.
Maybe an email, like a marketing email.
Yeah, like a call a couple. But it was mainly like a Survey Monkey type thing, like go through LinkedIn and find the contacts, find their email addresses. So it took me like 3 months. But then I would take that data, give it to the company, and then they benchmark to make sure that they're paying all of their employees the right wages, the right benefits, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, true.
So we do a lot of non-traditional recruitment at Resourceful as well.
Yeah. You are very resourceful.
Right?
So resourceful. So you've got 6 consultants, and then you've got 2 executive search people.
Yeah.
Do you have any like resources or candidate managers or?
No candidate managers. So we've got all of our recruiters at 360. So we've got mining, business services, oil and gas, infrastructure, water utilities. And then we have a support team of like Erin. She's like our girl that she does everything but recruitment. She writes our tenders, our bids, our proposals. And then we've got, our systems and operations lead. Then we've got our admin support that writes all of our like LinkedIn, branding and job briefs and stuff like that. Helps us write job ads.
Yeah, cool.
The directors, and then our finance team.
Are the directors, are they billers as well?
Yeah, I sit next to my boss.
Nice.
I love it.
Cool.
He's a legend. He's so funny.
What makes him so good?
You're trying to get brownie points, right?
I love you.
We'll send him this personal snippet.
I've never been so excited to come to work. Like I don't.
It's a good feeling, hey.
I don't feel like I'm going to my job. I don't feel like I'm going there to make my money to pay my bills. I feel like I'm just part of their vision of changing how the world perceives recruitment. Hashtag, that sounds so scripted. But I don't know. I bang on about it so much, and you can literally see the smile on my face right now. Like, I'm so genuine when I say my ideas are heard. I'm allowed to make change. I'm allowed to post content I want. Like, the amount of times I got pulled in at my old agencies and they were like, should you be posting that? And I'm like, well, yeah.
So funny story about that. So Riley, he wasn't allowed to post the videos from here because it was obviously promoting Next Recruiter and everything like that. So his boss like, take it down. Long behold, a young fella reached out, heard the podcast, listened to Riley, and was like, mate, I want a job there. Ended up getting a job. Starts next month. And that all happened because of this. And Riley, like, obviously Riley's Riley, but like, he's still a good recruiter, genuine bloke, and awesome. They got a great business at Finite, and now it's all happened.
It's mental, hey.
Yeah. So I think it's like people just need to listen to what recruitment's about.
Yeah.
And people can connect with good agencies and even the industry in whole.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of insecurity as well in recruitment where it's like, oh, what are they going to say about me and what we do and how we do things?
Yeah.
And I don't want other people to like have a different perception of me. And so I think that's, if you're going to have people that get nervous of their staff going on a podcast and talking about their business, what are they nervous about?
Yeah, right.
And it turns out that, maybe it could be false nerves because it's the
But
field
no
of
one does it,
unknown.
and that's what.
Yeah, no one's here to throw anyone under the bus and like talk. I mean,
We're trying.
But like no one wants to sit here and just have a bitch
Throw
session
shade
about
on
it.
someone.
Yeah, right.
So it's all just I guess
That's
this
what
is
you can
the
pay for explicit content.
you can join our Substack and you'll hear what we really feel. And I think that's the good thing about this podcast is being able to actually just freely talk about your job and other agencies and what it's all about. And
Like I'd never go back to a global agency.
why?
My voice is heard. I know as I don't know what the word is. I would say this is a Townsville word. We say gammon. It means like silly. Like
Gammon.
Gammon, bro.
Sorry, that's not professional, boss. But I don't know. We have like a Monday morning meeting. It's like a kickoff meeting. It goes for 10 minutes. It's like bam, bam, bam. And then we have our sales meeting on a Thursday. And do you ever remember like not looking forward to meetings because they were like a tick and flick exercise?
Tick and flick, or you're like, shit, now I got to share
Remember
my
our
results.
Wednesday meeting,
Yeah.
like our Wednesday
Networking
networking.
meeting.
Oh, what a waste of time that was.
Oh, I got a fair few halfies.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I never had enough jobs on. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to fill some halfies today.
What's everyone else got on the go?
Anyone want to do splits?
Yeah.
I got a candidate.
No,
I didn't want to have to keep cold calling.
Oh, we call cold calls smart calls.
Oh, smart
Smart
calls.
Yeah.
calls.
Write
Okay.
down. Smart calls. It just takes. It's not cold. Like it's a.
Tell
You
them
get
about-
that, Logan? Smart calls.
Smart
That's a hashtag. That's a
Who's
mini
writing
15.
it
Yeah. that's a 15-second clip right there.
It's and like so each consultant gets to run the sales meeting. So a few weeks ago, I ran the sales meeting and I said, all right, sweet. We're getting so much work in. No one needs to make any business development or cold calls right now, but are we future-proofing our businesses? There's going to come a time where,
Smart.
there's going to come a time. We can't live like this forever. We wish we could, but we can't.
Yeah.
So what are we doing to future-proof our business? Let's this week pick one person, only one human that you've never spoken to before and call them. It's not a cold call. Think of it as a smart call, as like someone that you's in your network, but you really don't know them, but someone knows them. Pick up the phone and give them a call.
That's smart.
Right? And we all got off on it. We were like, this is actually really fun.
Yeah.
And we spent the next sales meeting, everyone had success. Even we've got a junior recruiter, trainee recruiter, recruitment consultant, but he's new. And he is the first person without any recruitment experience that's worked for Resourceful in the last 10 years. The guys have been operational for 10 years.
Wow.
And they've always known people because they are ex-Stellar, like the best
Oh, back in the day.
best buds.
Oh,
They were
yeah,
like, let's
yeah.
go out and open our own agency. And anyway, we employed the bass guitar player from Violent Soho. Do you know that band?
No.
No? You know that band? They're playing their final show soon. They're an Aussie band, like they've been around for 20 years.
Yeah, I used to work with one of the dude's dads.
Yeah, legends. Absolute. I love
How
their
did he
music.
get this job?
So, he's
Stockies?
Yeah,
Well, the
Stockies on a Sunday.
I was a groupie at his concert. No, he knows Brent, one of our directors. They've got a relationship outside of recruitment, and the band's been around for 20 years. And he was like, I'm done with the music industry. And Brent was, and he came in and he met everyone. And Brent was like, look, let's just do it. Let's take on a trainee recruiter. And he came to the sales meeting with a smart call, and it was hilarious. He called this lady, and I haven't had like a rejection call in so long because the market's so hot right now. Like people actually want to hear from you. But he had a rejection call, and this lady tried so many times to get him off the phone. And if that was me 6 years ago,
Was
I'd
the
be
phone
like,
recorded? Everyone heard it? Or
No,
was it you just
no,
listened?
Wait, so
only-
he's got to do the call in front of everybody.
oh, I think maybe 2 people were in the office. I know
okay,
I wasn't.
okay.
I think I was working from home that day.
Yeah.
And he literally said, like, our most senior consultant in exec search had to counsel him after the call. It was so funny. This lady shot him down. But rather than being like, okay, no worries, see you later, thanks for the call, bye. He was like, can I ask you one more question? Because he called her mobile because she had been a candidate on our system, but now she is a client. How did you get my mobile number? Oh, it's just on the database. Take it off the database. He goes, okay, I'll take it off the database, but like, what's your landline? Like he kept her on the phone. And he said, I'm going to call you back in 2 weeks' time. And he just like, if that was me, I wouldn't have called her back. Like the junior baby recruiter in me, we get so nervous around that kind of stuff. But I was like, you are going to make an outstanding
Yeah, he'll be a
consultant.
weapon.
Yeah.
Like,
And if he's gone far in a band, he'll have the guts to keep going.
literally.
I've actually, you know what? I've got a funny story.
He knows how to party too.
I
Yes, he does.
I actually hired a girl. She doesn't work for me anymore. And she had an insane work ethic. And she pumped the phones, and the idea was just to keep them on the phone. Yeah. And there was some absolute cracker phone calls in our office when she was working for us. Like, we're all sitting there doing our calls, and then you hear this. She starts speaking super loud. You know when you're like on the phone to someone and it's really loud and you speak loud as well?
Yeah.
You
You can't hear yourself.
You got headphones on. You know,
Yeah.
Noise cancelling AirPods.
And there was this phone call that she was having. And she's talking, and she's like, yep, okay, and sorry, just I know you're mowing the lawn, but and this literally called this person that's got the lawnmower going, and she's trying to keep him on the phone.
Wow.
And it was the funniest thing, and I almost fell off my chair, yeah. And I'm like, what's going on there? She's like, I just really needed an updated CV. And so rather than send it to me, I just wanted to ask them the questions on their resume so I could update it for them. She's like, okay. And
We've all been there.
I know you're mowing the lawn right now, but so what's your major achievement in this position?
Stop.
Yeah. It was the best.
Is now a good time, or should I call you back later?
Yeah, that was not in a vocabulary. No. It was just straight up, okay, look, all right, well, look, you'll get back to your mowing in about 5 minutes. So let me just quickly ask you these questions. And it was just,
Mate, that's
it was
gold.
the best. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was really good. But unfortunately, didn't work out. But, you know, she still had one of the best work ethics that I've ever seen.
Yeah, right. Because rejection is hard. And I don't think they like prep you up enough for that in the recruitment industry. Like,
No. And I wonder, no one does. And they reckon 50% of recruiters fail in the first 6 months.
yeah, I reckon my associateship, I think maybe there was like 3 or 4 of us by the end out of 14. Sorry to anyone that those numbers are wrong.
Yeah.
But
But
more chance of making a SEAL team.
but the
Probably
bond we
do.
formed, we were the best. Like it was us against the world. It was like the associates against the world. But yeah, I think as I said, I wouldn't go back to a global agency, but they teach you some really, really good skills. But
What would be the skills?
I think I almost want to like they teach you good skills, but I feel, and I don't know what the program looks like now, but the sales skills, like I've gone out and done my own because I feel you constantly need to like upskill yourself, right? So I've sourced out some sales programs and sales workshops that I've done on the side that aren't recruitment related, they're just sales related. Like I've done one about NEPQ.
What's that?
It's more on like the emotional human connection side of sales.
Yep.
I'm doing it right now, but I always get it wrong. It's like neuro-emotional persuasion questioning. I think I got that right.
Okay.
And I paid for that myself, went out and did it myself. It's like all online courses. And what it teaches you is better listening skills and like influencing skills rather than like the old did you ever used to do like the feel, felt, found thing?
Yeah.
I understand how you feel, but what I found was...
And what others have found is that this is the way that you should make your decision rather than asking enough detailed like solution awareness questions. And truly, like I feel that I never...
What did you felt?
I felt and I
did you
found
find?
that I just didn't listen to people.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't wait for them to finish talking so
yeah.
I could ask my next question on my spreadsheet
Yep.
or on my interview list, you know?
Yeah.
I reckon we did a group sales training this year.
Mm.
I haven't done many because I don't believe in... It depends who these people are. But you know how there's all these sales mentors? And
Yeah, there's so many
LinkedIn
of them.
Oh,
I was going to do it myself.
And I
Leave
just-
recruitment.
Yeah. Start my e-commerce course. Yeah, so then... But we did Swish sales training. Have you heard of them?
My partner's done Swish or is doing it.
Oh,
Yeah. Who's the guy that started that?
Ryan. He's
Is
one
they-
of them.
are
And
they
then
still-
Jack Corbett.
Are they still doing it?
Jack's not. He's a part of a real estate investment firm.
Yeah.
And then Ryan, he still
Ryan
does
Tuckwood
it.
or something.
Tuckwood.
Yeah.
'Cause I think
Mate,
there's-
dead set. I thought
Yeah.
it was just like everything else.
Mm.
And then was like, they can't have this many good clients and this many good reviews. There's got to be something about it. It was like $500 a day per person for 3 days.
Yeah.
And honestly, gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's your biggest key takeaway from that?
They gave us so much stuff to talk about. Because obviously recruitment's champagne and razor blades, right?
Absolutely.
So before you set your goals, you look at your past goals and what you've achieved.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty key. Ways to follow up. You got like 35 different ways to follow up. That was pretty good. The cycle that a buyer goes through. That was pretty cool. They sent us this text message like draw a line in the sand text.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
They send you a template.
Yeah.
And you send it on day 1. By 3, you've already got people coming back to you saying, yeah, let's have a meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like impactful. It was straight to the point, actionable stuff. There was no like BS.
Yeah.
They weren't really fans of the big fella with the Jets in America.
Oh, Grant Cardone.
Oh,
I don't like Grant
10X?
10X, baby.
And his Jets?
Yeah.
It's all about cash flow, baby.
It's not about cash. Detach yourself from the sale. Follow the process and what you're doing in between, and don't worry about the outcomes. Might be my biggest thing. Like if I lost,
sell without selling. Like I just give information. No, we need to get to an outcome, and then you ask the right question. Like I think everyone freaks out at the start. Like, are we going to do a deal? Or like even you're on the phone to a candidate. Like, mate, if I get you this offer, are you going to accept
the trial close?
Yeah.
Stop that. My career has completely changed since I started at Resourceful. Like
How do you close a candidate?
How do I close a candidate?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel
a
like
lot of my deals, I'm the last to find out. So like
Really?
they've worked it out between themselves, and they're like,
Really?
yeah.
Or with the client and you.
The client and candidate, like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
mate, yeah, we've offered him the job. He's signed up at this thing. Let us know when you got to send the invoice. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, sweet. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
I felt like I was, quote unquote, losing a lot of deals. I hate calling them deals because they're humans, right? I'm not selling a product.
Yeah.
But if someone took their counter offer or something happened, then I didn't do enough in the front end process. I didn't get to know them well enough to know that counter offer was coming. Like I should have in that front end process. And this is a.
Okay, what would you do counter offer? Yeah, sure, that can happen. But like, what happens if they get lumped with like a 30 grand pay rise?
Well, then their motivations was money. When they told me that motivation wasn't their money and they wanted to leave tier 1 mining organisation because they're getting run to the brink and they want to work for a family-run mining consultancy.
Money talks.
Right. But is 30 grand going to tick all those boxes we spoke about 2 weeks ago? Are you going to go home to your wife at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? If you're going to stay there for 30 grand, you're going to stay there till 7 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
You know, those emotional questions. Like I've asked him, if you take this job, what will it look like if you're home early to your wife and your kids? What does that look like? It's like, oh, it looks like more quality time with my family. Well, what does more quality time with your family mean to you? You know, like I never used to ask like those follow-up.
The hard-hitting questions.
Yeah. And I listen, whereas I never used to listen. I talk, you can tell I talk a lot. But listening skills have taught me how to be a better recruiter.
Awesome. I really
Write that
like
down.
that. Yep, that's good.
That's huge.
You got that, Logan?
Chop that.
Nice.
But no, that's good. And then, so just speaking on counter offers, because are they happening a lot for you at the moment?
Again, I feel like they used to. Actually, I had one this week, and again, detaching myself from the sale, that person's fee placement would have taken me to the next bracket in my commission structure. And you look at what you're going to get in that commission structure and you start like thinking, oh, I'll be able to do this, I'll be able to do that. And I used to do that a lot when I first
That's
started.
the worst thing you can do.
Right. But
Yeah.
they've got a really good commission structure at Resourceful. So I was like, oh, this and that. But then I started, again, detaching myself from that outcome. And his counter offer was that he's working on a project at the moment that's patent. So, there's 2 people working on the project. He's the senior guy and the junior guy resigned the week before. And he didn't tell me that guy resigned. And now his current employer's just pulled on his heartstrings. Like, mate, if you leave, you've got 3 months left of this project and then we'll win this $500,000 project. Like, bro, if you leave, that's all on us. Like, we're not going to win that project. there's nothing I could do in that situation. I was like, okay, well, let's reconvene in 3 months. But there wasn't an objection that I saw coming, or there wasn't an objection that I would usually deal with.
Yeah, and I
Right?
feel like it's always something different in recruitment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like, oh, yep, here we go. Counter
Yeah.
offer, it's for this reason.
Well, most of
like
the time
most
it's money.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just someone's changed the goalpost on you and you've gone, dude, what? You said no like 5 minutes ago and now something's changed. Like, yeah, mate, had a thought about it and nah, it's all good. See ya.
Something I took away from a principal consultant in our office is he asks, no matter whether he spoke to someone yesterday and then it's the next day, he asks, has anything changed since we last spoke? He asks that every phone
We do
call.
that every step of the process.
Yeah. You gotta
From
requalify
first
'em.
interview, second interview, we always go, hey, how are you going? I know I asked you this yesterday, but I just want to ask you the same thing.
Yeah.
Are you still 100%? Any
Yeah.
red flags? Is there any reason why you think this isn't a good fit? Like, what could they be? And if they say, no, everything's all good. Yeah, I'm really interested. Like, oh, I know you're interested, mate.
Yeah.
You're going for the interview, but like,
I use alignment a lot as well. Like I want people to know that I'm not in this to make money out of you. I'm in this. Like, yes, that is the outcome. But if it's not right for you, then I will walk away and you walk away. Like if it doesn't tick all your
100%.
boxes, mate.
That's like I had a candidate.
know?
He was about to start the day before.
Yeah.
And he was due to start Monday. And he's like, hey, mate, these are it just doesn't align. I got a 10K pay rise somewhere else. I think this other company's better suited to me. And I've got to be driving 45 minutes each way to work.
Yeah, wow.
And there's 1 day work from home.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, mate, I get it.
Hands up. You're
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
that's
that sounds
be-
way better.
that's best for you, right? Like
Yeah, I just go water off a duck's back because, like,
you have
not,
to.
yeah, I just never get angry at a candidate for not taking a job because
Mm.
I'm not the one doing the job. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make a bit of cash if you take this job, but like, there's always another placement. There's always another candidate. I don't think you should ever just roast someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to roast people in our last
Roast 'em.
agency if they didn't take a job. Like
I-
I'm talking, we used to get razzed up. Like I used to, Blake, I want you to call that guy and tell him never to fucking deal with our agency ever again. And I'd be like,
Don't you come back here.
and I'd be like nervous, and I'd be talking to the candidate trying to like roast him, and he's like, get angrier, mate. You need to get angrier. And I'm like, you're not angry enough. And I'm like trying to like amp myself up.
Listen here.
I had to call the girl back.
Yeah.
So my natural instinct, it was my first pullout in my.
That's another one, Logan.
That is terrible.
Not laugh. That's what. No.
So she was your first pull out.
Oh mate. So she was the first person to accept a counter offer. It was my first 3 months, and I had my quarterly bonus. I had everything.
Is this at Rock?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had everything edging on this deal, and I said to the girl, like, my first instinct was like, "Oh, no worries, all the best." Like that was just my human instinct.
Absolutely.
And I got off the phone. They're like, "Who was that?" I was like, "Oh, that was such and such. I think her name was Claire or something." And I was like, "Yeah, she took another job." They're like, "She what?" I was like, "Yeah, she took another job."
What do you
They're
mean?
like, "No, she didn't.
That's her decision.
That's going to ruin her name in the industry." I was like, "Well, she hasn't even worked in the industry. No one knows her." They're like, "Not good enough, mate. Call her back." And then I had to do the exact same thing. And she goes, "You're just after your money, you pig."
She didn't say
Yeah,
that
she
to
goes,
you.
"You're just after your money, you pig." Well, literally 30 seconds before, I'm like, "Yeah, have a good job." She's like, "You're the best recruiter I've dealt with. Sorry for giving you bad news." And then like 30 seconds later, I'm like spraying her.
Yeah, so bad. Hey, like why
man.
burn bridges for no reason? No good.
Recruiters, huh?
Yeah, fucking recruiters.
But now you get why there's this stigma out there. And I did the same.
Literally.
Like anything I do in blended, I just go, what did I do in the past? I'm going to do the opposite right now.
Yeah.
So like I had my shitty little office, make sure videos out everywhere and all that type of stuff. And even just, anything I did, I just make sure I did to the point of like
Yeah.
buying Apple and not buying Word or whatever that is.
Oh.
Lenovo's.
Lenovo. I get a lot of shit because I've got Lenovo ThinkPads and
ThinkPads?
ThinkPads.
What's a ThinkPad?
You should get a smart pad. It's called an iPad.
Oh, an iPad.
No. So a Lenovo ThinkPad, it's just a laptop.
Right.
They're just like a good commercial Windows operated laptop that
Gotcha.
you get if you're a serious business person.
So
if
I'm still
anyone's
just
out
winging it,
there-
mate. I'm just winging
And
it.
then and Declan's got a bunch of Apple here that like it looks like he works
Got a
for a
fruit
design agency, but he's just a recruiter, and he's just got
Trying to change
apples
the perception,
galore.
mate.
Trying to change the perception of the recruitment industry with all my Apple stuff. Anyway, so he gives me shit because apparently I'm archaic with my Microsoft Outlook and Microsoft Word and Windows
Hey, I
operating
use
system.
Outlook.
Yeah, exactly.
Use
See?
Outlook.
Yeah.
Professional
I can't
businesses,
use an
professional
Apple.
businesses use Outlook and Microsoft.
We have a consultant that was like, I can't use, I don't know, a normal software. Like I have to use Apple. And we got her an Apple computer when she started, and all of our systems just won't happen.
Yeah.
She's been there for nearly a year, and it's just like constant issues with our systems trying to
You've got to be
communicate
one
with
in,
Apple.
all in.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are competitors, major competitors in business. They're not going to make it easy for everyone. But yeah, everyone's got to be on Apple.
No, mate. Apple's no good. I don't really like Apple myself.
But surely
I'm like-
you're not running a Samsung phone.
Absolutely.
No, come on, man.
Yeah.
It just feels
How do you do the iMessage and the FaceTime?
No,
You don't.
my last.
You don't even know if he's
Do I
got
have
the
to,
message.
do
It
I have
just
to
stays
FaceTime
green.
you on on
Yeah,
That's
Facebook
what we had to do
Messenger?
last night.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
I'm like, oi, bro, I'll show you my new house. He's like, yeah. I was like,
Just hit me up
I
on
can't
Facebook.
even FaceTime you. He's like, no, mate, we got Messenger.
Like I'm on the phone to you and I'm like, oh, actually, I really want you to see this. Boom, FaceTime. Hang on, Blake. I just got to hang the phone up, open up my Facebook Messenger.
But he does it
Yeah.
that often. Before I just pressed hang up and he's on Messenger. Boom.
It's me.
It's just a reflex now. It's like, boom, boom. Hey, mate, it's me.
Not the
But
green
yeah,
messages.
Nah, I'm not a big fan of Apple. I've only ever had the Apple 3GS phone or whatever it is with
Like
the
the-
round back.
Oh, the OG iPhone.
OG iPhone. Yeah, I had that once, and yeah, never again.
I was running a Nokia like hip top flip top
Oh
phone.
yeah, the flip
Oh.
phones.
Yeah.
These are my candidates.
Oh yeah.
It's like a little.
Yeah,
Oh.
for sure.
Oh, far out.
That-
Well, what
oh,
a
it's
night.
been an hour.
It's been an
How
hour.
It
did
rolls
that
on
happen?
quick, eh?
It does. I didn't think that would happen.
You've smashed about 6 champagnes.
Oh,
nah.
7.
No, I'm joking. Barely got through one.
Ugh.
Well, thanks, Tash. If there's what do you reckon someone new into recruitment that wants to get into it, what do you reckon they should know to finish things off? Just a little bit of a Tash advice, seeing as you've laid out so much tonight.
I think they should know that it's okay to not be okay. Like when you first start. Like when I first started at Resourceful, I was like, bro, I've got 5 years experience. I know what I'm doing. And then I started technical white collar recruitment and I was like, this is a completely different job. And I'm only just now 2 years in, have built a network where people trust me. I've got a bit of a brand. You know, I get inbound calls happening. I think if you go into an agency, you don't hit the ground running. If they don't give you the time to build your credibility and build trust with clients, then they're not the agency for you. Like I feel as though it takes a year to build your craft, to know your industry, and to be known in your industry. Like I think
Yeah,
it's
100%.
a time thing. I don't think 9 months is. I mean, 9 months is enough to learn how to interview people and take a job screening and a candidate, and a client briefing.
So
But
how long would you say you just got to stick at the same place, same desk, and just focus? In year 2, you get fruits of your labour.
yeah,
Yeah.
I reckon. It's like I get people tap me on the shoulder all the time, like, oh, hey, do you want to come work here? And I'm like, I'm only just seeing the successes now of the last 2 years of me constantly networking and competing with mining recruiters that have been there for 10 years. But also the market's amazing. Like right now, like it's an easy time to be a recruiter. People want to hear from you. But if you join the industry if you join recruitment when it takes a bit of a turn, it's a hard slog.
Mm-hmm.
I think time, process, and time equals results.
But you'll pick up a lot of clients now that will stay with recruiters because they'll be like, oh, they
Yes.
don't know when the market changes.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
goes, the candidates are back. And then everyone stops using recruiters.
Yeah.
And just work for good humans.
Good advice. Work for a good boss.
Yeah.
That's deep. Well, Tash,
Real deep.
thanks for coming on. Do you remember the
you.
rule of the podcast?
I have to tell all my friends about it.
Yeah, perfect.
We'll take a little selfie and I'll put it on my LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Thanks, Tash.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thanks,
See ya.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.